did a lot of things that have never been done there and is still doing those things. But you always think back to the person that gave you your first shot. I remember I was a group of 5 coach at Northern Illinois, and he had no idea who I was. Now, I also had about a 2-day interview. If you ever known about Greg Schiano's interviews, you go through a lot of stages. You have an interview before you even have the interview with him there. So Kirk Shiraki gave me that interview. That lasted 5 minutes because Kirk wanted to take his kids to Disney World. So Kirk sat me down and said, yeah, Greg, you're going to love this guy. I was like, that was the interview? I got my coat and tie. I have 5 minutes. Kirk just says, yeah, you're going to love this guy. And but then you go through the process with Greg and you find out real quick from all the people inside the organization of what the standard is, what it looks like, exactly how it is, and it's either going to fit you or not. And I learned a ton from him, especially in the detail and the organization piece of that. And it's ironic that we were here playing Garrett's Iowa State Cyclones at one point. This was a long time ago, and Rutgers won, and then Greg took me to Tampa Bay with him, which was I was very fortunate with that because I was going to become an NFL coach. And for all those people out there that want opportunities, I remember they showed me the salary I was going to make. And I was like, well, that's not much different from Rutgers. And Mark Dominic got on the phone, who was the GM, and he's like, do you want to be a position coach in the NFL or not? And I was like, I'll take it, because it was an unbelievable opportunity. So many people only look at dollar signs or this or that or what's in it for me. Opportunity. You want it or not. And every single one of these guys had an opportunity at some point. Nothing was given to them. And these 3 grew up in a world where nobody was bought, nobody made any money. They heard, all that. Where, these guys had to earn everything they got. And I think I learned a piece of that from Greg too. That you can do that in the coaching profession. Because I had to earn everything as a player, but then watching somebody, run his program that way, where everybody earns it, I have a ton of respect for. So, ton of respect for him.
Far side of the room.
Coach Fleck, Adeshina Koigi, a lot of sports talk. Congratulations on the win. Everybody, congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
You mentioned Jim Tressel, Senator Tressel, and how he affected your sartorial choices. When people think about 9-win teams year after year in the Big Ten, usually Michigan and Ohio State come to mind. To 3 full seasons, you have won at least 9 games, as you mentioned at the very beginning of this. How much has the Big Ten and iron sharpening iron and kind of the underdog nature that you were mentioning, the blue chip nature of your program, how has that allowed your team to be able to have your name and the annals be alongside those sort of great teams in the Big Ten, who usually, when you think Michigan, Penn State, Ohio State, 9 wins year after year, and now Minnesota in over a century, first time in over a century, 11-9-9.
Yeah, I think that we talk in our program, there's a difference between a chip and a crack, and the crack on your shoulder is proving to everybody else that you're good enough and proving to everybody else that you're worthy and proving to everybody else that I can do it. That doesn't really matter because they're always going to find something that you're not good at. LeBron James is still proving that he's a really good basketball player to everybody outside of that locker room, and I've never understood that. And so we're here to prove to ourselves. We talk about, a crack on the shoulder, not a chip. A chip is just that. A crack is proving to yourself you're exactly who you say you are. And that's what we strive for. And I think the Big Ten West, when you look at the Big Ten West, you talk about iron sharpening iron, their parity is so even across the board. So we talk about when you look at like the East and the West, you know who's coming out of the East. Most of the time, you know who's coming out of the East. 1 of 3 teams. In the West, they call it the Wild West for a reason. We're all pretty somewhat equal. And so you have no idea. This year, was it 3 or 4 loss team? Was it 3 or 4 in the West? Who won it? 3? Right? Purdue had 3. 3 losses, won it in the West, but everybody just beat up on each other. And then it was a tiebreaker, and it was this and that, and you won this, and I didn't, and you played in head-to-head, and that's part of it. But I got to give, President Joan Gable a ton of credit and my boss, Mark Coyle, because when he hired me, we said, this is what we're going to do. And I know there's a lot of things we haven't done yet, but we've done a lot of things on the field and off the field, academically, athletically, socially, spiritually, exactly how we said we were going to do it. And it's great to have the support that you get to do it exactly the way you want to do it. That doesn't happen everywhere. And I'm not naive enough to know it doesn't. And we have incredible support from people that allow us to be ourselves. And I think so many people are afraid to be themselves because when you're yourself, you're going to stand out because everybody tries to be something that they're not. That's what I hope these guys take from our program. And just because, you don't think Minnesota 9 wins, 11 wins, 9 wins, 9 wins, but I want you to. And these guys want everybody to. But if they don't, that's fine. We know what we can do. We know what we're capable of, and we're always going to play that underdog role. because I think really successful people have this constant drive to be the absolute best. It's almost a disease where nothing's ever good enough for you. And the way that you kind of trump that a little bit is you do the celebratory times. When you win something, you ever come in our locker room, you'll see it doesn't matter who we beat. It looks like we won the Super Bowl. And everybody's like, geez, they just beat X, but you thought they beat X, Y, and Z. Well, we did win. The whole goal was to be 1-0, right? So everybody's going to compare it. We're going to say, be 1-0. We were today 1-0 against Syracuse. That's all we wanted to focus on. But we have incredible people, incredible support from everybody on campus. And these guys, I couldn't ask. I can't tell you how grateful I am. I know Tanner talked about to be their coach. It's humbling every day. And that's why I love being at Minnesota, because the people who are in charge of me allow me to be able to pick the people, right, that fit us. And that's what I was taught, growing up, and then especially in this coaching profession. You're not going to be for everybody. Nobody is. You pick the right people, you can do really special things, and they've accomplished some really special things.
We'll take two more. We'll go on the right-hand side, then we'll finish with Pierre.
Mainly from Mariano, but also anyone else here. You guys obviously took care of business on the field, but it seemed like you also really enjoyed yourself around the city this week. What were some of the highlights for you, and how would you sum up the whole experience of this week here?
Yeah, being in New York City during the holidays was a tremendous opportunity. Just spending time with your teammates and your coaches, and being able to capture that moment after a long season was really special. I think the highlight of my trip was the 9/11 memorial. Just being able to reflect on that and see a part of our nation's history that was quite tragic, and to see the response of the state of New York and the country as a whole. And we talk about that in our program all the time, response. So to see it on such a tremendous scale of the entire country was really special, and we were able to learn from that as a team. And then, being able to go out and experience New York City with my meals with Mariano was also really special. And I was making jokes on the sideline after I scooped that fumble that maybe if I didn't do the meals with Mariano, I'd be in the end zone right now. Who knows? Because I did have 4 meals back to back. So, just being able to be with your teammates and coaches all week long was just a really celebratory time, and to go out here and win the football game was a cherry on top for a really special season and for all these seniors.
We'll finish with Pierre.
A question is for Mohammed. I know the season's only been over for about an hour now, but have you at all given any thought to, I don't know if vindication is the right word, but the whole process of coming back after an injury like that and the decision to come back and to have the season that you had? I mean, just what is running through your mind when you think about what you just accomplished this season, especially coming off of a major injury?
That I made the right decision. Coach Fleck, when I made the decision, we was talking, and he was just like, one day you're going to understand why you made this decision, and then you're going to love it, and you're going to say thank you to everybody that helped you out throughout this whole process. Back in November, I was lost. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I leaned on a lot of people to give me the best advice, stuff like that. And then when I made the decision, just understanding that I can become a better football player after this injury, and just taking it one day at a time, not looking at the top of the hill, just understanding that every week you're going to get better, every day you're going to get better. Don't rush it. Don't look at the finish line. I finally made it to the finish line today, but not looking at the finish line, just taking it week by week, and that was my mindset throughout this whole season. Like the question before asked me about all the records and stuff like that. Just take it one day, one game at a time. That's all you really can do. You can't really look into the future like that. And I tell all the people that get hurt, like, don't look at the finish line. It's not that important. Just become a better person, become a better man. Just take it for what it is, and you're going to be better at the end of the day.
Gentlemen, thank you and congratulations.
Thank y'all for talking to us.